welcome to my channel. My name is Franca and I'm glad you're here. This week we're going to be reading my favorite book series ever, which is Flowers in the Attic. And as you can tell, this book has been very loved. So these books are dual books, so it has the first book and the second book. The first book in the series is called Flowers in the Attic. The second one is Petals on the Wind. This book has been through a lot. As you can see, the pages are kind of yellowing or browning. Also I'm pretty sure I spilled something on it. Probably like water or like hot chocolate or something. Definitely did that. You can tell she's been beat up a little. I've had this book since middle school, so for like 7-ish 8-ish years, and we're gonna reread it. But then I also recently acquired the third and fourth book. The third book is If There Be Thorns, and the fourth book is Seeds of Yesterday. And as you can tell, this is a pristine new book, and this is not. Obviously, I have read Flowers in the Attic and Petals on the Wind. I've yet to read these two books yet because I never got this book. And then I did find it on Amazon. So if you're interested in these books and you haven't read them yet, I'll have them linked down below. Feel free to use my Amazon Associates link and I can earn a commission off of your purchase. Aside from reading, I've also seen the Flowers in the Attic, Petals on the Wind, and If There Be Thorns movies. I don't even remember if they have a Seeds of Yesterday movie. I definitely haven't read that book yet, so the last one's gonna be a little bit of a surprise to me because I have no idea what happens, whereas the other three I definitely know what happens. And we're gonna start reading with Flowers in the Attic. So with that said, let's get right into it. Hello guys, it's been a while. I'm about 120-ish pages into Flowers in the Attic. I don't want to spoil this for you, but this book is so heartbreaking. I love VC Andrews' writing, and we'll talk more about her in a bit because I think she's very interesting. But so far in the book, it's like painting the story that they had like this perfect life and then everything goes downhill. I guess character development isn't always a good thing, but the character development from the mom and like the children, it's crazy how both of them feel about each other before this like big inciting incident, and then how much they change after like months and years, I think it is, of this inciting incident occurring. I love this book because also like this is the craziest SHIT ever. Like I would never in my life think of something like this. I love the whole idea of like flowers in the attic, and then all the titles are like flower related. When I first read this, I didn't think much about the prologue or the dedication. The book is dedicated to her mother, and like the mothers in this book, if you've read it, you know, are not the best mothers. So I wonder if like maybe this is based on real events. I don't know. I wonder if we're gonna have a situation where it's like the 7 husbands of Evelyn Hugo, where I think this is a real thing and it's not. If it is a real thing, that's crazy. If it is not a real thing, the way she like truly makes you feel, like the way she truly makes you fall in love with the children in the book and like how they feel and what they're going through kind of thing is crazy. Some of the SHIT that happens to them is literally insane. There is one part that I know is going to happen in this first book that literally is so heartbreaking and brings me to tears every single time, because how could a mother do that to her kid? Hi guys, I just finished Flowers in the Attic, and I know I didn't talk about the book enough, and that is because I know this first book like the back of my hand. I've read it like 20 million times. I've seen the movie a million times. So obviously this revolves around 4 children, and some terrible events happened. In the beginning, their father passes away, and now their house is going to be foreclosed, and like they're losing all their stuff, and they don't know how they're going to live without their father, because this is like way back in the days when like women didn't work and like men took care of everything. So losing their father was a very big deal. So the mother's like, oh, like I did something very bad. And like my parents, they brought me out of the well. My mother has agreed to let us live with her, but I need to get back in my dad's like good graces. So she locks her children in the attic. And when I tell you, this book literally breaks my freaking heart, especially the ending, because like how could you do that to your kids? But I love it so much. The writing is beautiful. VC Andrews did an absolutely amazing job writing this book. Also, VC Andrews herself is a very interesting person. Her name is actually Virginia Andrews. The first book she published, Flowers in the Attic, and she was so shocked when she got the cover of her book because she like looked at it and the publisher had changed Virginia Andrews to VC Andrews, and she was like, that's not my name. They changed it because they thought no man would buy a horror book written by a woman. And that is so sad. Another thing, you know how I was talking about earlier? I was like, oh, well, I don't know if this is like based on a true story. I searched it up because I was like, now that I'm reading this again, like it kind of feels like, you know what I mean? Like it's so crazy that I feel like, how does someone just come up with this? You know what I mean? Like I'm not sure how reputable these sources are, so take this with a grain of salt. But apparently she's been quoted saying the book is not truly fiction and that the book is a fictionalized version of a true story. So apparently the rumor going around, I don't know if it's true or not, but apparently she had heard this story, children being locked in an attic. Also, another cool thing about Virginia is that she passed away from breast cancer before she could finish 2 books. And I guess the publishers had the right to her name, which is weird because like how do you have the right to someone's name? If you know anything about that, let me know. But like apparently they had the right to her name. So I don't know if she hired a ghostwriter before she passed or if the publishers hired a ghostwriter, but a ghostwriter took over her pen name, and I believe they said he wrote 2 books that she had already started writing, I guess. And one of them was Gardens of Shadows, which is the 5th book in this series. And I think it's the grandmother's story. Unfortunately, I don't have that book yet, but I plan on getting it. I've never read that book. I don't even know if they have a movie on it, but I think I saw somewhere there was like an origin series based on that book. Maybe we'll check that out. Lifetime apparently made movies for all 4 books. And I think I've only seen the first 3, so definitely have to figure out how to watch that because reading this makes me want to watch the movie. Because like reading the first book at least, because I know that one the best, I know that movie the best, I can like visually picture the movie and like the exact scenes they're talking about. The ghostwriter wrote or finished Gardens of Shadows, so I think it'd be interesting to look at like which books she actually wrote herself and which books he did and see if the writing's any different. I feel like that'd be super interesting to check out. Maybe we'll have to check that out after. But now we're on to Petals on the Wind. I'm about 450 pages into this book, and so far it's starting off not like I remember what this book is about. But maybe I'm thinking of the next book. But they have escaped down south. This sweet lady helps them out and brings them to a doctor because Carrie's really sick. He ends up taking them in. In this book, the oldest son, Chris, he's about 18 now, wants to be a doctor. The main character who's like telling the story, Kathy or Catherine, is 15, I want to say. And then their youngest sister, Carrie, is 8. So they're all having to go to school now and they're living with this guy. But Kathy's thinking of revenge. I'm gonna keep reading and we're gonna see what happens. I'm about 474 pages in, and so far it's been pretty boring. It's them like going shopping and getting situated at school and stuff like that, and like the ballerina stuff and whatever. But I was reading and I was like, literally some parts of this book I could do without. Whatever is happening right now, I could do without. Like I'm genuinely confused why this is happening, and also like I feel like it happens with a different person later on in the book, and still like why? So I'm still reading Petals on the Wind, and I'm about 618 pages in, and I haven't talked much about the second book, because I didn't realize how boring the first part was. was. I feel like it was mostly about their new lives and like getting stuff and like things like that. And now Kathy's in New York. She's at this dance company. She's living her dream. When I tell you SHIT is going down, it is going down. Crazy stuff is starting to happen. And I feel like I don't remember what just happening in the book. Kathy apparently got an abortion, but it was called a DNC, is the medical term she was told. But everyone in town thinks it's Paul's kid. And now she's gonna marry Paul. And you're probably like, who's Paul? Paul's the guy who took them in. Yeah, very confusing stuff. I don't remember any of this happening in the movie or the book. Mind you, though, I haven't read. I think I've read Petals on the Wind once. More so, I read to the end of Flowers in the Attic, and then I give up. And I can tell why I give up, because this book is so heavy, and look how bent it is from the amount of times I've read it. I definitely need to get a new pristine version of this, but this makes me fearful to read this third and fourth book because I don't want to ruin it. I want it to be pristine, pretty, and look like it has never been read before. I swear I remember something happening between Kathy and her mom's second husband, and I thought it happened in this book. Maybe it happens in the next one, but I thought the next one was about Kathy and having her kids, so I'm a little confused. Maybe I'm misremembering things. We'll find out shortly. This gives me faith that in like a year or so I can reread some of my favorite books and have no idea what happened. So back to reading we go. I just finished Petals on the Wind. I didn't say anything for Flowers in the Attic, but Flowers in the Attic is a 5-star book for me. Petals on the Wind, I give it a 4. And I'm gonna give it a 4 only because I really like the ending. Part 4 of Petals on the Wind, heartbreaking. Part 5 of Petals on the Wind is how I remember it happening in the movie. So that was interesting. But like part 1 through 3 was kind of boring for the most part. So didn't really enjoy that. But now we are moving on from this old book into a brand new book, and we're gonna start If There Be Thorns. Hello. I did not talk to you guys at all during If There Be Thorns, and that is because I read it while I was like half asleep. I finished it last night, so I have one book left to go, and that is Seeds of Yesterday. It was kind of interesting in the sense it's from Kathy's children's point of view, so Jory and Bart, who both have different fathers who have been lied to, and their parents have been keeping this big secret about their past and how they know each other and stuff like that, and then it all blows up. I don't know, I feel like this book kind of made Kathy and Chris's mom seem not as bad as she was in the first book, even though I know she was awful. Kathy's actually writing a book, but only the epilogue has Kathy's point of view. But now I have no idea what this last book is going to be about, because when I tell you most of the characters from these past 3 stories have been off, there's only like 6 of them left, and we started out with like 20. So I don't know what possibly could the last book be about. I want to say maybe it's the mom's story, but that's just me throwing things in the dark. We also did learn a little bit about Kathy's grandfather and like his ideas and a little bit of his story. So maybe the last book is his point of view too. I did enjoy it. I'm gonna give it a 4-star because I don't like it as much as the first book. This book does talk about mental health a little, which I thought was really interesting because this book was written in like the 1980s, and they weren't very mental health friendly, if that's the right way to phrase that. I don't know. And it's interesting to see how the characters are portrayed for that time period from someone who like lived in that time period. Yeah, but we're gonna read the last book, so let's get into it. Okay, so we're at the 500 page mark of this book, and I'm not really liking this. I don't really know what's going on. So we're back into the perspective of Kathy. Her youngest son, Bart, has come into a great deal of fortune because Kathy's mom left everything to Bart. So Bart decided, tell me why he would do this. Bart decided he was gonna reconstruct Foxworth Manor or Hall or whatever to exactly replicate what it looked like before the fire, right? Where Kathy and her siblings were held captive. And the most catastrophic thing just happened to their firstborn son. And I don't really know where this is going. Unless something really interesting happened, I don't think I'm liking this book as much. I think it was a good thing I never read it before. Kathy and her brother went back to Foxworth, and I thought they were gonna be like, oh, like, you know what I mean? Like, she was gonna go back into the attic to see if, like, Bart redid the attic exactly how it was. But she hasn't done that. Maybe it's just because I'm nosy. The first place I'd go when I had a moment alone would be to the attic. Yeah, that's what I thought was gonna happen, but it definitely didn't. But we're gonna keep reading and see where this goes. Okay, I'm about 100 more pages in, so I'm 600-ish pages in this book, and there's only like 800-ish pages in this book. Nothing interesting has truly happened, and I don't like any of these characters anymore. I feel like the first 3 books, love. This last book, unless something truly intriguing and interesting happens, I feel like I'm not gonna like. I don't know what's going on. I don't really like Kathy that much anymore. I don't really like Kathy's kids other than Jory. Jory's the only character I like truly actually like. Kathy's daughter Cindy, don't like her. Kathy's second son Bart, don't like him. Hopefully it gets better. Hello, I know we didn't do much reading. This book took me forever to read. Although I just finished Seeds of Yesterday like 5 minutes ago. I was gonna give it a 2-star, but then the ending was really sad, so I'm gonna give it a 3-star. But for the most part, I thought it was very boring. I didn't like it. I feel like it could have just been 3 books, and I would have been fine. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like and comment down below. If you didn't, feel free to leave a hate comment. I'd love to hear your opinion, and I will see you guys tomorrow.